everyone, my name is Tisa and welcome to Faith Bytes. Today we'll be looking into the issue of mental health and especially how the youth have a battle with it and how their faith can tie into this as well. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now, but what if I was to tell you we've had an invisible pandemic for many years? As we all know, mental health problems are increasing, and sadly, more and more people are deciding to take their own lives, including those of a high profile. So then it's not a surprise that a lot of people that we come into contact with have had some kind of experience with mental health issues. So I'll start by asking you, you wake up one day, you have a horrible headache, a runny nose, a sore throat, a really bad cough. Would you hesitate to call your doctor to get an appointment and get yourself checked out? Would it be the same if it was a mental health issue? What about the days when your minds suffer? When your thoughts and emotions are so irrational that you can't cope? Would you still try to find someone that can help you? Would you reach out to others? And if you muster up the courage to do these things, would you still have the fear that they might say it's all just in your head, or I'm sure you'll be fine? In a pastoral letter by the Bishops of California titled Hope and Healing, it says mental illness is neither a moral failure or a character defect. To suffer from a psychiatric disorder is not a sign of insufficient faith or weakness of will. Our faith does not tell us that we will not go through any trials, but instead gives us hope through Christ's suffering on the cross. It gives us a hope, a will to carry on, and the most beautiful sacraments offered by the Catholic Church, which give us spiritual strength and endurance. Because in 2 Corinthians 4:8, St. Paul writes that, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed." This literally stands as a constant reminder that God is telling us that our illness is not our identity. We are so much more than our emotions, negative thoughts, and our feelings. We cannot be defined by our illnesses, our anxiety, our depression, because each and every one of us are loved unconditionally by God, and that is what we should be defined by. Speaking in an international conference on mental health, Pope John Paul II says, "Whoever suffers from mental illness always bears God's image and likeness in himself, as does every human being. He always has the inalienable right to not only be treated as an image of God, and therefore as a person, but also to be treated as such." As Christians, we are called to recognize the dignity of people around us. We should look deep into the human heart, and we should be the first to know those around us who are suffering and silently crying out for help. But first, we need to look to ourselves and see if there is any judgment within us. Do we think of it as an us and them situation? There is no us and them. We are all subject to anxiety, stress, and depression at some point in our lives. As we are one body in Christ, we have the duty to reach out to our brothers and sisters and love them with an intimacy that Christ would want us to. We should look at others with the eyes of God, with the same love, respect, and joy with which He looks at us. We should recognize that, as St. John Paul II says, we all bear the image of God. As I close off, let me remind you of the words of the Bishops of California. Our model of healing is always Jesus Christ, the divine physician, who with great tenderness, compassion, and solicitude draws close to us and binds up our wounds. Like Christ, we are called to tend to the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Sometimes we may not feel worthy or qualified enough to help someone with a mental illness. We may not know how to fully understand them, and we may not know what kind of practical advice to give. But the main thing to remember is that us being there for them is the biggest turning point and the biggest help for them. So keep that in mind. Try and reach out to the ones you think might need help, and also to the ones that would never admit it and are secretly struggling. If this message was helpful or inspiring for you in any way, please share it. And if you are interested in more videos coming up in the Faith Bytes series, please give us a follow. My name is Tisa, this is Faith Bytes, presented to you by Jesus Youth UK. Thank you.